Hi, I'm Alan Wyley. I'm the founder of Connected Trips. Connected Trips is a trip advisor for the wellness market. So we have put together a community site where we bring teachers, centres and users together so they can share experiences around yoga, meditation, nutrition, exercise. So basically anything that's good for you. Now the wellness is a huge growth trend right now, but this is still a pretty fragmented market. So if you're looking for like a yoga class locally, that's obviously quite straightforward. But if you're looking for a retreat or a vacation, it's quite difficult to find and book that online, and it's a major, major barrier to people in the mainstream who are not actually doing these activities today. So if we take like just a subset of what we're doing, we have, say in yoga in the US, there's about 3% of the population currently doing that today. So we'd like to, of course, service that market in the first instance, but what we really want to do is open it up to the mainstream and try and grow that to 4, 5, 6, 7%. Then this opportunity becomes very exciting as we bring it to the mainstream. In terms of our team, there's 3 of us. We're based in Dublin in Ireland. I'm the founder. This is my 3rd startup in the last 10 years. I successfully exited the last 2. As an organisation, we raised seed capital late last year, $600,000, which we've used to launch earlier this year. We now have a site that's got 2,500 centres, 2,000 teachers, maybe 3,000 activities in 40 countries around the world. But the US is a key market for us. In terms of our business model, it's very simple. It's free to list, it's free for inquiries, and we charge a 10% booking fee. So little friction for the centres and teachers to actually sign up. Competitive landscape is kind of interesting actually. There's a lot of directory sites, there's a lot of other forums and so on. But what we are seeing is that while you can find some booking sites like bookyogaretreats.com, there really is nobody trying to take the full wellness space and turn it into a community play. So that's what we're doing that we think is a little bit different. I guess in terms of we're not actually looking to raise money right now, but we are looking to hire in California and looking to get smart money later on this year, which to us means people who are passionate about this space, who really get what we're doing and share our vision to bring these activities to the mainstream.
Questions?
Thank you.
Alan?
Yeah. How often do you think the customer who uses your platform to book will repeat booking through your platform?
Yeah, well, we're only on the go a few months, so I don't have an exact answer to that question, but my feeling on it is that people might book these retreats 2 to 3 times a year. So that's the kind of scale I would think. But the critical thing to us is the community aspect, because if you do that 2 or 3, it's not just that one person, but it's the referrals and the social proofing that they do when they pass it out through into their network. So there's a ripple effect throughout it, but one individual person, yeah, I guess 2 to 3 times a year for retreats or workshops or weekends.
Wyley, and then Paul.
You mentioned there's only 3% customer base in US that does yoga. Where did you get those numbers from? I mean, I don't agree with you on those numbers. I think they're low. That's one. And second is, how are you going to build this community? Why would people build a community, not do the own activities they do today?
Sure. There's 2 answers to the question. The first one is it's a Yoga Journal survey. So Yoga Journal is the biggest yoga magazine, I think, in the States, and it's a journal that they've done, and I've confirmed it with them. It's about 3% of the population. It's reasonably flat at the moment, actually. It hasn't grown hugely. These are people who regularly do this. But bear in mind, we're not just a yoga site, but in yoga, it's about 3% of the population. Interestingly, which was a surprise to me, meditation is about 6% of the population describe themselves as regular meditators, which was, I thought it would be the other way around, but it is 3%. It's a real stat from the Yoga Journal. And then in terms of building out the community, what we're trying to do is appeal to the teachers and centres particularly to help them find new customers, because that's their biggest pain point right now. So they have like their existing customers who they market to all the time, but they actually have a difficulty in getting out into the wider market, and they're reasonably invisible in the internet right now. So by pulling together these activities, and not just yoga, but also other wellness activities, we're now potentially bringing in new customers that they would just never reach. And that's the pull to them. And if they start using our site and sharing it with their customers and with their other teachers and so on, then you again get this ripple effect. The community aspect is absolutely key to what we're doing.
Okay, shorter answers if you can. Paul, please.
I got a couple of really quick ones. Do you guys have revenue today? And if you do, what is it, how much? What's your margin on the revenue? And how much are you looking to raise, and what are you going to do with that money?
Okay. You said shorter answers, right?
Yeah.
We've got some bookings right now, but essentially we're pre-revenue. We're getting like 20, 30 bookings a month, so it's not huge. And then in terms of when we raise the money, I think what we would like to do is focus it on the geographical spread. That's why I'm here in California. It's a key market to us. So what we're going to do over the next 3 months before we try to raise the money is prove this around the Bay Area, and then with the balance of the money, then branch that out across the rest of California and into the States from there.
How much are you looking for?
I don't know exactly, but I guess somewhere in the region of 750, and something like that. We raised about 600 so far.
Nicolai, do you have a question?
Yeah. Could you quantify the market size in terms of money?
In terms of money, yeah, sure. The yoga, if I just take the yoga market, it's about $5.5 billion a year spent in the US on the yoga market. The addressable market for us is probably about $150 to $200 million, something in that range. So for us, that could be somewhere around $5 million a year in revenue, but that's just for yoga and just in the US. When we're looking at a broader wellness space, you're going across multiple different niches. But there's enough to make a small business just in yoga in the US, but we think there's enough to make a big business once we branch it out across the rest of wellness.
Why you? Why will your startup win?
I think we're passionate about it. That's the first thing. We know a little bit about it, so it's something I'm personally very interested in. My wife's a yoga teacher. We've got good connections in this space, and we know a little bit about it. So I think our ethos rings true, and that's the feedback we're getting from the centres and teachers that we're talking to.
Why don't we start here with feedback, Nicolai, and then work our way around, please.
All right. So let's see. 1 second. It's again. Feedback is quantifying market size right on. Right. Again, I'm kind of trading feedback from the previous one. Again, I want to see big markets, so that's really important to me. If you can quantify for me, and a little bit more than you did just now. Like we're addressing the wellness market. This is this big. Travel for wellness. That we connect this much. Right. Competitive landscape. We'd like to know a little bit more about that. Address it. So you show that you know there are competitors or alternative ways, and quantify why you're the better solution. Why will people pick you?
Okay. Wyley.
Yeah. So I think I was struggling to find your differentiation, and I couldn't. What you describe about building a community and going about the teachers really didn't really give me the idea of why they would come to you. Like Nicole, I asked you a question, why would they come to you? Because that answer didn't really come out. I really look for that answer. The second, I really like this space. I believe that wellness is a big industry, and internet hasn't done much about it. Given that, is this your company who's going to do it? You did have good exits in the past, so I think you're still in the early phase trying to figure this one out. And once you have figured out what that differentiation is, what that answer is, we'll definitely like to know more.
Paul?
So I'm just going to focus on the business side of it. Anytime you step in front of a group of angels to talk about money, because that's what this is about, right? You need to know exactly how much you're going to ask for and how you're going to use it. To the point, you got to tell me exactly what you're looking for and what you're going to do with it. I mean, that's the fundamental reason you're here is looking for cash, right? Because cash is the gasoline that makes the engine run. That's the first thing. The second thing is you didn't spend any time at all, not 1 second, telling me how I'm going to get a return on this. You really didn't. You didn't hit that, and you got to do that. Otherwise, it's just an interesting discussion.
Alan?
Yeah. So I think this is pretty cool. One of the things that I think you have to prove out as you explore this model is whether you have a non-local nature to this business. And I'm not convinced that when people go to their yoga, it's kind of a localized business, right? So you're going to go to the same place. Maybe there's 1 or 2 times that you go on a trip and you're looking for some special place. But I believe this is a local business, so you're going to have to prove that it's not a local business. And if it is a local business, then you're creating a marketplace for a specialized type of service. But anyone who's creating a marketplace for a service-based business, has to be really careful about repetitive, local-based businesses. Because if it falls in that category, then there's the incentive to cheat or go around your platform or use it once to discover a great service provider and then stop using you is a huge problem. And you seem smart enough to solve that, but that would be what I would focus on.
Okay. Guys, ready to vote?